All right, we have Nightwing, we got Moon Knight, we got independent books, and we got Red Sonja. Find out if they're going to make good films or television shows out of them right now. Okay, we are back with episode 24. 24, can you believe that? So, we before I even start, I'm just gonna do a quick plug. Uh, my Kickstarter for Lords of LA #2 is up for pre-launch right now, so you can sign up and be notified when we launch in a few weeks. So make sure that you click the thing below and the link I'm going to put in the description. It'll take you to the Kickstarter page, and it's free. Just click get notified, and you'll get an email when we actually launch, and you'll be privy to our early bird specials and things to that effect. All right, so without much ado, let's get back into it. Make sure that you can subscribe if you can, and give yourself give not yourself, give me a like if you enjoy it after we're finished. All right. So let's get started right with DC. We always start with DC. We go to Marvel, and then we go to Independence. We're doing 5, and let's start with Nightwing. So Nightwing by Tom Taylor has been mostly meh. It has not changed much, and this issue is not any different, unfortunately. I don't even know why I'm still collecting it outside of the fact that I'm hoping that it gets better, and I like the character. So I'm waiting for a new writer to come on and do something different. Tom Taylor's been on this book for a long time, probably too long. We need new blood in there. And he started out doing this whole Heartless thing. It's still going. The guy's still out there. Dick has had a million opportunities to try to go after him. He never does. It's almost like an afterthought. The guy keeps killing people. But meanwhile, this also takes place during Gotham War. How that's happening, I do not know. Thank God Gotham War, I think, is ending this weekend, and I am done with Batman and Catwoman, their main titles, and all that stuff. So anyway, Nightwing has got shot in the head. I don't know, a few years ago, and he lost his memory and became Rick Grayson. It was a stupid idea. It was a stupid storyline, and they're continuing it here. Why? Don't know. So we have Dick Grayson had some of his stuff in the hold, okay, which was a safety deposit box held by pirates. Okay. Okie dokie. So yeah, just haphazardly, these guys have a safety deposit box that are pirates. How they, I don't know, do you just give them money up front because you really can't get, billing? Not sure how that works. But anyway, so Heartless went after the hold, but the hold was moved, and the main pirate king or whatever was killed, and now Dick's ex, when he was Rick, is now the pirate queen, and she hires him or asks him for help to go deal with it, but he doesn't go off on his own. He goes with them. I don't know. It's very strange. And I mean, I like the relationship between the two of them. And then, Barbara, who he is engaged to at this point, is listening to them through the earpiece. And I really don't understand. So we have this, neat little fight scene with the pirates who don't want him there. And of course, she intervenes. I forgot her name, like B or something like that. And they have this neat little conversation. I like her. I like her look, but I'm still confused by the whole thing. And like I said, Barbara's listening, and she's of course, asking the jealous questions and things to that effect. So I thought that was all decent. And then he's like, "No, you got to get out of your superhero costume. So I'm going to leave something for you downstairs to try to dress into." and he dresses into this with the mask still on. What is going on? What is going on? And she even asked the same question. She's like, "That's not what I left you." He's like, "Well, that was in the box." He's like, "Well, I left you other things that weren't in the box." And he's like, "Want me to go change?" And she's like, here's her exact words. All right, ready for this? Ready for this? For the duration of the mission, you will look like the cover of a romance novel. That is the captain's orders. Even she makes fun of it. And yet, this is what's on the cover. We're all like, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? You know, he's got the shirt all open because there's no buttons on the thing. And what? What? So then somebody falls overboard and he goes to jump in and he freezes. What? He's like, I don't know what's wrong with me. So she jumps in instead and rescues the guy and brings him up. And now Nightwing has no clout with any of the guys on the crew. Of course, the guy looked like a coward. And then she's like, well, I don't want Oracle in your ear, so I'm giving you a new mask. So he gives him a new mask, and she throws the other one overboard, and then we get this stupid thing with Dick and Jason as a add-on, which that's only there so they can charge you an extra $1. And I'm not even going to go into it because Jason and Dick shouldn't be hanging out anyway. I mean, he's a criminal. He should be completely separate from the Bat family, or else they need to bring him in because he's killed so many people over the years that he's never answered for. So anyway, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Would it make a good film or television show? No. This is amateur hour as far as I'm concerned. It's not good. It's not good. There's way too many holes, and why isn't I assume that he's where I don't know. They're going after a hold, but who knows where the hold is, and why couldn't he link Heartless to this? Why couldn't Heartless be involved in this? Instead, Heartless only got there after the fact, and Heartless was also the guy who killed the other guy. So is Heartless involved in this? I don't know, but it would be nice to finally get some closure on that villain. I don't know. So I don't know what Tom Taylor's doing, but he's kind of all over the place. Anyway, I'm going to say no for that one. All right, let's go into Moon Knight. So Moon Knight, there's this. It's almost like the Bane character for Batman, where he's bringing back a lot of Moon Knight's old villains and having him fight them. But now Moon Knight has a brother who's also a fist of Khonshu. He's not a blood brother, but he's a brother through Khonshu. And he's called Hunter's Moon. So I kind of like that character. I kind of like the fact that they're completely different personalities. Although when they're in the costume, they act the same. But the difference is that Hunter's Moon pulls on all of the previous Moon Knights through the generations. So it's kind of like Rey from Star Wars. I hate to say that. But anyway, so they're flying in a ship with the Magic 8-Ball here. And if I had said it without showing it to you, you probably thought I was making a joke. So the Magic 8-Ball crash lands because they shoot a missile at an RPG at it. And what I do like is, and I'm going to say this with a caveat, I like Tigra. I'm a big Tigra fan. I have been since West Coast Avengers. She has a kid in this. One of the issues I really liked is when we delved into Tigra and her son, and we haven't seen that again since. But the artist does not know how to draw a Tigra. He draws her extremely anime. And she's like, I'm a hunter, and blah, blah, blah. But yet the art shows her as this cowering little girl. This is not Tigra. So anyway, they infiltrate Black Spectre's whole operation here. And they get confronted by a whole bunch of guys, and I don't know if you can see in the panel with all the villains, one of them's got a gun. At least one of them has a gun. But yet Hunter's Moon, he says, I'm going to buy you guys some time, so just go. Go, and I will stop them all, and if I die in the process, it was a good death, and I will wait for you in the afterlife. Anyway, that's my rendition of Hunter's Moon. So anyway, we I guess there's some kind of a vampire or whatever else that is this woman here, and she's back at base. He says, no, I need you to protect the base because I don't know what's going on. But then we get this stupid page of him and Tigra running. Tigra says, wait, stop, I clicked something when I run. And she's on a pressure plate, so she's out of the battle completely because she's just got to stand there. Why bring her along at all if you're just going to pull her out of the battle? Why? Jed McKay, why? So anyway, she's out of the deal, and again, look how anime that looks. I mean, you can't get more friggin' anime than that. And they kiss, and he leaves her there on the pressure point. Don't move. Don't move. It's gonna be bad if you do. What the hell? What the hell? So Moon Knight continues his battle forward, and he gets stabbed in the back, literally. And then we get a confrontation. Oh yeah, here's Tigra. Literally, I don't know if she's taking a piss. I don't know if she's taking a shit or whatever. But she's sitting there on the pressure plate. God, that was stupid. And then we get Zodiac chatting with this other guy. And we don't know where Zodiac's going, but we're going to find out. And then Moon Knight shows up to fight Black Spectre, and he has the knife still on his back. And this would have been okay. I kind of like the knife still sticking in his back. But if you're gonna go fight, you got to take it out because you can't have that kind of weight, right? Even if you're bleeding, you can't have that kind of weight affecting how you move. And then what if he hits it? Is it gonna go deeper? So this would have been the perfect point where if they're having this conversation for him to go chink, throw it on the ground. It would have been very cinematic for him to do that. So anyway, he goes and charges at. I just showed you this page, but he goes and charges at Black Spectre, and that's the end we see. That's the end of the issue, except for this wrap up with Zodiac, and Zodiac is about to, I guess, go into his headquarters, Moon Knight's headquarters, and wreak havoc because this thing's called the Midnight Mission. I don't know why he calls it that. I know the midnight portion, but the mission portion I don't understand. So anyway, so we're gonna see, but look what it's called. It's called The Last Days of Moon Knight. So I don't know if Moon Knight's gonna die and Hunter's Moon's gonna take over. But I really wish that Tiger was written better here and drawn better because they really did her dirty all the way around in this one. But everything for the most part I like. So my critiques are not only Tiger but the knife in the back. He wouldn't be charging at somebody with a knife still stuck in his back because the enemy can use that. If he gets behind him, he literally just has to kick the knife further into him, or pull it out and use it as a weapon. It's a bad move leaving it in there. So anyway, but like I said, it would have been a perfect, very cinematic thing for him to literally be having a conversation like, I'm going to kick your ass, and there isn't any knives or weapons or anything else that's going to stop me from doing that, and he literally pulls it out and throws it on the ground. That would have been pretty cool. So anyway, I really like the whole Hunter's Moon thing. I like the Bane kind of character. I think this is pretty cinematic, way better than what we got on the TV show, because we're keeping it at a street level. And that's what these people from Jed McKay at least understands that, where the guy who's writing Daredevil doesn't. These, street level battles, even if the guy is super powered to a certain extent, is a lot more conducive to this character than fighting devils and demons and all this other stuff. That's why I stopped getting where he went to the land of the dead. Just doesn't fit the character. This guy's Batman for the most part. So he was in the past anyway, just with a little bit of multiple personality problem. Anyway, that's Moon Knight. So I'm going to say yes to Moon Knight. So we got one up and one down. All right, let's get into Red Sonja by Dynamite, Thorin Grumbeck, which again I thought was a guy, but it's not with that kind of name. And so apparently, she's Norse in some way. And the cover on these things are just badass, man. I mean, anyway, I like the Viking, blue stripe as well. So this is about this mind control kind of guy who is wreaking havoc on these villages and destroying them. He's raising a whole army. When people pledge themselves to them, they got this like black goo underneath their eyes, and their eyes become black and stuff like that. So Red Sonja in the last issue kicked one of their asses and got into it's called a Valinger. That's the name of the kingdom that the army is now charging upon. So we have this cutesy blonde that shows up at the gates, and since she's so beautiful, they just let her in with her knife and everything like that. And she makes her way all the way to the tower where the monks are, and she just seduces one of the monks, and then she has sex with him. But that's not the end of him, because she eventually kills them all. Meanwhile, the other army has put villagers into their catapults. I don't know why they didn't put them on fire. That would have been even better. And is catapulting the people at the stronghold, at the castle. So people are literally splatting against the walls and taking other people with them, for that matter. So, this is already causing the morale of the city to fall to pieces. And, Sonja's in there trying to say, no, hold your ground. We will beat them. Don't you worry about it. Again, that's my rendition of Red Sonja. I don't have the body for it, that's for sure. So, meanwhile, all the guys with the black eyes, whatever else, are now attacking mercilessly. And Sonja keeps hearing like this entity keeps jumping between people and giving her advice and saving her life and things to that effect. And the entity had jumped into two young boys who are now there. It jumped out of them, and they're scared. They're trying to fight. They've never killed anybody. And Sonja's on the wall, defending the wall and chopping off people. So she kills somebody, chops another girl's head off. So good stuff. There's good stuff in here. I read some kind of another review where it was just one big battle. Yeah, but I kind of like it, because you're going to see why this is all going on. So we're seeing the power of the villain, which is, I think, very important. We have to establish the villain before we can know what the hero needs to get over. So I think this is clever. But some other people thought it was just, one just big battle scene. So anyway, the guy that I guess she lit on his head on fire in the last one, so he's all burned up. And then she goes to the tower, because the tower is where they spill the tar onto people and burn them and get them off the walls. And she had killed everybody, so the tar isn't going. So Sonja went up there, and she goes and battles the girl, and she makes... Okay, so the girl jumps her, and her sword is just out of reach, which is down here on the bottom. But one of the monks gets taken over by whoever's not the mind control guy, but whoever the entity is that's saving her life, and kicks the sword over to her, and she, of course, impales the girl, and that's the end of that. So he's like, you're not going to win this. This is a battle you cannot win. This is the entity talking through the monk. And she spills the tar down, so she gets the guys off the walls. And the entity's like, you got to go. Again, there's no way you can win this. And they're also coming out with a savage Red Sonja. Look at them. hard on that, and it looks very 70s. But wow. So she ends up fighting the dude she put on fire in the last one, and she's like, "I love what you did with your hair." I thought that was a good line. Of course, he doesn't have any anymore. He's burnt to hell. So the whole battle takes place, and then the entity jumps into the general, and she finds the two boys that are now dead, and all this other stuff, and uh, the entity's like, we got to go, man. I'm telling you, you're not going to win this. And for Sonja to say, yeah, you're right. I'm going to actually leave this battle. That's completely out of character for her. But because we're taking her out of character, we know that this big baddie is really someone that she can say is an equal to her. And that's very important, Without showing how badass Darth Vader is, we can't see what Luke has to get over. And that's what this whole issue is. It's establishing the fact that Sonja had a run to survive. That's pretty important, I think. So, and she isn't happy about it, that's for sure. And so one of the baddies with the black eyes rides up beside them with a spear. And it chucks the spear, and she's riding next to the guy who's being controlled by the entity. And it misses her because she gets out of the way, and then it hits the other guy. So, oops. And the other guy turns into Kulan Gath, which we all kind of assumed that was the situation. But so Kulan Gath is one of her mortal enemies. And now she has to team up with him to beat the bigger baddie. So I think that's pretty interesting. I kind of like this. So to make a good film and television show, I would watch the hell out of this. I think this is really good. We got really good battle scene. We got the villain having the team. Of course, we would have to establish Kulan Gath, which, and we've never really seen because we've never seen a Red Sonja movie or television show. But, they did it with The Witcher. Why can't I do it with Red Sonja? I know that, her whole look would have, I'd hate to change it because of today's time. Because they would say, oh, you're, looking at women, through the male gaze and all that stuff. So they would probably stay, although I heard that they were working on a Red Sonja thing, but she's not going to look like Red Sonja. I don't know. So I would say yes, but with the caveat that you left her alone, that you leave her as the femme fatale, type of character from the 70s and the 80s, when we did those kind of exploitation type films. That's the only way this character works, because if you change everything about her and you just give her red hair and a sword, it's not Red Sonja anymore. And she's one of the most popular cosplay characters ever. So women don't have a problem with it. If anything, it's men that have a problem with it, that have to be, the male feminists or whatever you want to call them. But yeah, if you want to give her the bikini top and give her a pair of pants, I guess we're still fine. But to change her completely would be a mistake, I think. So anyway, that's it. But I really enjoyed this issue. I thought it was full of action, and we saw some people die, and we saw repercussions, and we see her turning tail and running. I think that's good stuff. Then we have a couple of Kickstarter books. So this one's called Bronzestar by Mike Barron. Mike Barron's been in the industry for a while, and Pat Broderick. And the art's generally good in here. And it's a supernatural Western, which if you know anything about me, I've done a supernatural Western. Very low budget. And it was called Six Gun Savior. And it had Eric Roberts playing the devil, and Marty Cove from Karate Kid and Cobra Kai, who played Kreese. He's in it. And it's basically about a bounty hunter for hell, and the devil's manipulating things, but so is God. So we see the juxtaposition, we see an angel in there and things to that effect. So, it's, do we stop the end of the world or do we not? Kind of thing. But anyway, we have this really interesting main character who gets to this small town. He meets these people and he gets kind of accepted into the community. He's on the run because he was in a card game where the guy accused him of cheating, even though he didn't in this case. I mean, we see a lot of times that the guy does cheat, and we haven't seen it. I think we saw it even in like One Piece where the girl was cheating, Nomi or whatever. So, but in this case he wasn't, and the guy pulled a gun on him, and he shot him fair and square. He shot him first, and they don't really shy away from it either. Blam, right through the head. So anyway, it ends up that the guy that he kills is the kid of somebody very powerful. So he goes on the run. So he's a wanted man. He goes to this little small town, and he's with this young girl and the mother, and he does odd jobs for them. And then the sheriff hires him to be his deputy, and he gives the deputy the Silver Star, but he has the Bronze Star. And the reason he has the Bronze Star is because the present sheriff is a werewolf, and of course you can't wear silver. So yeah, we get, I mean, again, the artwork is really great. We get some nice stuff with horses and things to that effect. But if it was really a werewolf-centric story, we don't really get that. The werewolf portion of it is like an afterthought. It's more about him being in this relationship with this woman and her daughter, and him becoming a lawman, and at the same time being hunted. And that's got some really good stuff in it. I mean, don't get me wrong, this is actually a pretty good Western. But I think that the werewolf portion of it gets lost to the point where it's not even important. You really just have a Western. So we get the Indians in here and stuff to that effect. It's like I said, it's a true Western. And then, the werewolf shows up to these guys that are, not exactly the best people in the world, and he rips them apart. And, like, we got some really, really good art in there. I'm not disappointed with what I got here from Kickstarter, which is highly unusual. But again, the whole ending is, the guys coming after him, and then the werewolf basically getting involved, and then the werewolf gets killed, and we don't know if he gets bit or not. And then this is where it gets really weird. There's this like Lovecraftian creature that he says, "Oh, you shouldn't go in there. You got a Lovecraftian creature." He doesn't call it Lovecraftian, but he got this. Nobody doesn't want to talk about it, and it's like stuck in the mines, and it gets released. So that's where it kind of goes off the rails for me a little bit, and so that's where it kind of ends. But we don't know if he gets bit or not. So we don't, because the girl says, "So now you wear the Bronze Star." So we don't know if he's just taking over being the sheriff, or if it's because he can't wear the silver either. And then we get this kind of tag ending of him with the barber, and the barber's a dentist, because he's got to get his tooth pulled, and they're literally going to put a string to it on the door. And then we have the bandits come in, and then they kill them all, kill all the bandits, and that's the end. So it's kind of like this thing is tagged on to the end, and there's another one of the covers with the guy who's got the werewolf hand. That's the actual werewolf. That's the sheriff. But I would have been fine with the character's a decent character, and I like his backstory. I like the fact that we have this traditional Western where he's on the run. He's making friends with the villagers. I like all that. again, if you're gonna do the supernatural stuff, you gotta lean into it. You gotta just it's gotta be the prime piece of it. Instead, it's the backdrop where werewolf just shows up occasionally, and then we have this weird Lovecrafty thing. I should have been eliminated completely. I just muddied all the waters in the world. So, would it make a good film or television show? Yes, but it needs a rewrite. It needs a rewrite where you're either going to take the werewolf thing out completely, and it's just going to be about him on the run and dealing with the bounty hunters after him, or you're going to lead into the werewolf side and make the werewolf the main portion of the thing. He's running this very slow slope, and you can't do that. You got to lead in or you got to lead out. So, but anyway, Six Gun Savior, if you ever want to put up with a very low budget film, I'm telling you that up front. If you ever want to lean into that, just go into it knowing that the thing was done for like a couple $100,000. So it was way overly ambitious for what I had to work with. So just take that with a grain of salt. All right. So and then last, Henri Kampmann, who I've known for many years, who did the Shangli whatever. I forgot the name of the actual thing he did. He did a Chinese warlord series that was based on a true story. And now he's jumping into this, which is War Lion. So this is about this world by the overseer, who's kind of running things, and he looks like Professor X. I really don't like the design side of it. But anyway, so we have this vigilante that's fighting for the people, and he's the War Lion. And he has a wife and daughter, and the overseer sends his guys after them and ends up killing the wife. So the daughter, he takes the daughter on, and he basically trains her from a very young age. So at least we see some training and some hard training. She literally breaks her hand several times. He's rough on her. We get a flashback of when she's first told by the wife that she's pregnant, and then we have this biker gang type of situation, almost like Mad Max. So it's like a Mad Max situation, but these guys work for like the overseer, and of course she remembers the main guy because he's the one that killed her mother in front of her. So she has a whole vengeance situation going on, and they confront her, and of course he's older now, so they don't really see him as a threat. And we go back and forth with her training and them confronting this biker group. Then we get this wild card creature that's actually kind of cool looking, and he attaches his tentacle to people, and then he controls them. And he controls this guy to literally walk up to the generals and stuff like that and point a gun, and of course they shoot the crap out of him. But I think it's more of a test than anything else. And then we go back to the battle, and we see her putting on the mantle for the first time. So it's basically going back and forth. And then, of course, we see her actually enter the battle. So between the two of them, they start kicking ass, and of course they have to do the hero pose together. Come here, daughter. Stand next to me and pose. All right, and then we get the overseer again, and his lackeys, and we get some gratuitous stuff in here of the main guy that killed her mother, and the artwork's decent. I can't say anything negative. It's not overly stylized, and the battle. We get some good action scenes in there. The big axe, the whole bit. And he breaks the axe instead of killing the guy. And his face is all screwed up, but they leave him alive. There's his face all, wow, fucked up now. I gotta keep my helmet on. or else I'm not going to get the girls. But then I guess the guy that works for the overseer comes up and says, "You failed me." He's like, "I'm sorry, Daddy." Not really his daddy, I'm just saying that. And he has one of his drones blow his head off. But then the guy goes, "Oh, yeah. Look at the amount of guns that War Lion is carrying. How can he even walk? I mean, I think what that weight is. Jesus Christ." So he brings guns to the resistance, and he says, "Good job, daughter, but we're not done. We're gonna give a speech to everybody and say that we're gonna kick everybody's ass." Oops, this is the wrong page. I did voiceover work for the wrong page. Anyway, so, "And you don't start forest fires." I'm just kidding. That's not what he says. He says, "We're gonna go kill them all. Don't lose hope. We're gonna do it." And they said, "Yes, sir." And then the guy that works for the overseer goes home to his family, and the little creature comes out of the basement or whatever. And this was kind of actually pretty cool. So it affects not him, but his family, the wife and his kids. And then the wife and his kids stab him to death, I guess, with whatever. I guess they were having steak. And so he's no more. Oh, this is a better picture, actually. And then the overseer's there going, "Yeah, this is gonna be fun. This is gonna be fun." And that's where it ends. So who knows when we'll see the next issue. But yeah, it was interesting. It was interesting. It sets up a different kind of world. Would it make a good film or television show? Yeah, it would be fun. I don't know if they dump millions of dollars into it, but probably maybe on a low budget level, you could do that. So I'm going to say yes to that, and I am also say yes to Bronzestar with the caveat that it's got to be rewritten in one way or the other. Red Sonja, I've really been loving this. Sorry, I've really been loving it. I love good medieval stuff and seeing these battles and stuff like that. I really wish we'd see a real good to the character, staying with the character if we do see it in film and television show. Moon Knight, yep, it's a lot better than what we saw on television, so I'm going to say yes to that. And so 4 out of 4. That was pretty good. That's pretty good for my track record. Normally I don't say that. And then Nightwing, I'm going to say no to that one. So it's not a 5 out of 5. Sorry, guys. Anyway, that's all I got. So I'm going to pitch my own stuff here real quick. But before I do, make sure you like and subscribe. I am trying to grow the channel out. Thank you all so much for listening to me. And now let me pitch my own stuff because, as you know, I'm a writer as well. So this is my fantasy novel, Tales of Ravenor, The Iron Witch. This is a new magic system. We have a whole new continent with different kingdoms that pray to different gods. So they're all kind of different aspects of Earth history. So we have the Greeks and we have the Egyptians and we have things to that effect. So lots of fun this one. And this is well, let's do Destiny Aurora first. This is my sci-fi. This is adaptation of the first of 4 different Destiny Aurora novels. The audiobook was just released for the first novel, and the board game and the RPG from Starfinder is still available. And this is a full adaptation with androids and aliens and space battles and all this stuff. So it's got a big twist in the middle. Yep, I put my twist in the middle, not at the end. And if you see it coming, let me know. But that story has always been, the characters here have been lots of fun to me. And then I have Lords of LA, which is my vampire mob in the 50s. This is the first issue. This is 48 pages. The next issue is also 48 pages, so technically it's 2 issues in one. And again, that just launched on Kickstarter for the pre-launch page. Click the link below to get notified when we actually launch. This takes place in Hollywood during the 1950s and in present day, so it goes back and forth in time because I like talking about immortal characters. And Lena is a lounge singer that was turned, but she doesn't know which of the different mob families turned her. So when she comes back 60 years later, she goes and takes revenge on all of them. And she tries to reconnect with her family that, of course, don't know that she's a vampire, so they don't know that, she's 60 years older than what she looks like. All right, well, that's it for me, guys. Thank you again so much for watching. Thank you so much for putting up with me. And check out some of my other videos that are going to pop up over here. And you all have a good week. All right, bye-bye.